Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I think that by now we have sufficient evidence to say that Erdogan, the president of Turkey, is not kidding. And he is a keen, courageous, with big balls president. We like it or not, but we have to agree with that. If Sweden thinks that they could smother, what's his name, Erdogan's little balls and funnel them a little bit, and he's going to drop his, no, they're not a request, they're demands, then they're making a big mistake. Erdogan is not kidding. He's not a weasel, like other countries and other leaders. So let's see what he is doing. As you know, Sweden and Finland depend on Turkish approval to join NATO. So that means if the Turks say no, supposedly by the rules that could be always be violated and dodged, Finland and Sweden will not join NATO. So if you remember, President of Turkey Erdogan demanded that certain steps must be taken by Finland and Sweden to satisfy Turkey's high demands. And they aren't working on it, which I'm talking about Sweden and Finland. They want to do that. The problem is there's a problem here. They encounter, I'm talking about a Swedish society here, encounter some roadblocks because of some courts that would not want to comply with Erdogan's demands. Therefore, they will block probably the membership in NATO. But that's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Remember? So, this article comes from Sputnik. From today, the 19th of December 2022. This is the title. Sweden's NATO bid in limbo as top court slaps down Turkish extradition request. It's not a request, it's a demand of Gulenist Giorno. Gulenist is quote-unquote Giorno. I think Gulenist is a member of that cleric who lives in the United States of America, so probably is a supporter of something. So Sweden and Finland's NATO membership bid has been ratified by 28 of the bloc's 30 members, with Turkey and Hungary holding up the process. Ankara has given the Nordics a series of conditions for support for their membership in the bloc. Observers in Stockholm and Helsinki have grumbled about the demand's implications for their sovereignty. Sweden's Supreme Court has blocked the extradition of a Turkish-born journalist claiming asylum in the Nordic nation back to his home country, on the grounds that the man has not been found guilty of any crimes in Sweden and that he may be persecuted for his political views at home. No shit. And I'm quoting, "It is clear that in this case there are several obstacles to extradition," end quote, Supreme Court Judge Peter Asp said in a statement Monday. Extradition cannot therefore take place. You can imagine what Mr. Erdogan did. He smacked a few people around and said, okay, let them eat cake. The wanted man in question is one Bülent Kenes, a Turkish journalist mentioned by name by President Erdogan last month when he listed off Turkey's conditions for the approval of Sweden's NATO membership bid. Turkish authorities accuse the 55-year-old journalist of playing a role in the attempted coup attempt in 2016. Now that's a crime. You're a traitor if you do that. With Kenes working at the time as editor of the Today's Zaman newspaper, an Istanbul headquartered outlet which ceased publication after the coup plot failed. Today's Zeman, was deemed by authorities to be the flagship media organization of US-based Muslim cleric Fethullah Gulen. Gulen, a former Erdogan ally, had a falling out with the Turkish president in 2013, and Erdogan had demanded his extradition from the US. Successive US administrations have dismissed these demands. And I'm quoting, "There is one member of the Gulen terrorist organization in Sweden whose name I will give, Bülent Kenes," end quote, Erdogan said in a meeting with Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson in Ankara on November 8. And I'm quoting, "For example, the deportation of this terrorist to Turkey is of great importance to us, and we of course want Sweden to act with more sensitivity." Like caress it slowly. Erdogan. Among the quote-unquote obstacles to extradition listed by the Supreme Court on Monday are the, and I'm quoting, non-criminalized nature of the charges in Sweden of the crimes Kenes is suspected of having committed in Turkey, which the court called a matter of so-called political crimes, crimes that are directed against the state and that are political in nature. Wait a second, Sweden. Let's say you have a weasel in your country who actively supports the overthrow of your government, which is democratically elected, legitimate, blah, 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 and so on. And that guy, before he gets, he just runs to, let's say, Turkey. And then you say, wait a minute, he committed a crime here. He colluded with, let's say, Turkey or some other country to overthrow a legitimate government with the help of outside authorities and services. That is treason. So by our law, he is a traitor. We want him. He ran to Turkey. Turkey, give it back. And Turkey said, sorry, he didn't break any Turkish law, so beat it. And Sweden is supposed to say, okay. This is what these guys are basically asking Turkey to do. So Turkey said, no, that guy wanted to overthrow the government. And now he ran to you. And you tell me because he didn't break any laws in your country but he broke in mine, he's a traitor, you will not give it to us back. Yes. Okay. Now, no NATO for you. No soup for you. So, and I'm quoting, there is also a risk of persecution based on his personal political beliefs. Well, if you might have personal beliefs, but you can't help and support a coup, you know what I mean? You can't say, well, you know, I have a different opinion and a different party than the president-elect and in charge and legitimate. Therefore, I'm going to support a coup. You're going to be persecuted not because of your opinions or your political views, maybe your involvement in that illegitimate, illegal, treasonous act. May that play the role, but you know, tomorrow you're gonna say, well, I'm homosexual, and they over there in Turkey they persecute homosexuals, so you can't let me go. He's gonna do that. What do you think? Or transgender or whatever he might, you know what I mean. So it says, among the obstacles to extradition listed by the Supreme Court on Monday are non-criminalized nature of the charges in Sweden of the crimes Kenes is suspected of having committed in Turkey, which the court called a matter of so-called political crimes. Crimes that are directed against the state and are political in nature. There is also risk of persecution based on this person's political beliefs. An extradition can tersely not take place, ASP said in a statement. Okay, now this guy Kenes, 55, is now employed by the Stockholm Center for Freedom. What a nice job he's got right there. By the way, in 5-7 years or whatever. And an advocacy organization founded in 2017 by other Turkish journalists with alleged links to the Gulen movement. Sweden's limited resistance in extradition asylum seekers and members of groups blah 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 blah. Well, that's what they're going to do. Some political forces and rights groups in the Nordic countries have called on the politicians to grow more of a backbone and stop Turkey from adding to their ever-growing list of demands for approval of NATO membership and to address Scandinavia's concerns. Earlier this month, for example, Stockholm turned the tables on Ankara's claims about criminal hiding in Sweden by alleging that about a dozen Swedish criminals are hiding in Turkey and demanding that Swedish justice be brought to Sweden. The problem is you can suck Turkey's thing, but they cannot suck your thing. Why? Because you need Turkey, Turkey doesn't need you. So you have to bend over and take it deep and dry. Okay? That's what's going to happen. What do you think is going to happen? You have nothing to do with Turkey. Turkey says they use these kind of things just to make you give them what they want. Because in the first place, you want something, which is Sweden. You want something? Oh, you want something? Okay, then you meet those requirements. Oh, you don't want to? Okay. I don't want anything. You want. So that's the problem. Sweden wants something, so it's in the lower level in a negotiation. So Sweden wants that bigger, more than Turkey wants the balagugu bagabagabazawa. Don't give a fuck about those. If they really want those guys, they can eliminate them. I guarantee you. But they don't want them like that hard. They say, okay, you keep them over there. And Sweden was so, remember, tough. We're not going to make deals with you. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Well, Turkey, blah, blah, blah. Asian country, backward people, blah, blah, blah. And now they need them. And now, hey, Erdogan, can I suck it now or later? And for how long ever you want. That's how they are right now. Weasels. And now they try to, like a pigeon, like a dove, when they hit with the wing. That's how they fight. This is what Sweden is right now. And Turkey is like a tiger. What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, we're gonna fight back. You're gonna give us our people over there that we want. And Turkey is like, no, we won't. Okay, we're not gonna give you the people you want. Okay, we're not gonna allow you to get in NATO. So you see how things go? The same with the banking system here. The banks already, all of a sudden they dictate everything. The banks without us and the businesses will not exist. But all of a sudden, the banks are dictating how things are run. Like in the Bible, the rib versus the organism. Who's more important, the rib or the organism? I can live without 5 ribs, but 5 ribs can live without the rest of the body? No. That's why you know who's in charge, or who's a little bit had a little bit of more authority. The banks or the businesses, or the bank or the people. Who's in charge? And all of a sudden, it's the other way around. Somehow the banks are dictating. Everybody's owing the banks. Something is wrong, my friends. Something is wrong. Rotten. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.